Hey guys, we're going to be going over two things in this video. The first is naming convention with Postgres, and the second is we're going to start setting up our GraphQL schema. So the first thing I want to talk about was using camel case. So you'll notice in some of my foreign keys I'm using camel case like team ID. And this is actually something that is not recommended for Postgres, and I'll show you why. So if I come over and I connect to my database called Slack, I can select all from channels. And we notice we have team ID all uppercase. So I can do select team ID from channels, right? Wrong. Team ID doesn't exist. You'll notice what it does is it lowercases all the IDs. So what you end up having to do is double quote this like that. And now we can select the team ID. And that's really annoying. I don't want to put double quotes on every time I have a property like this or a column. So a lot of times you'll see people camel case like this. And camel casing works really nice. Or not camel casing, snake case I mean. But you'll notice I didn't do that here, and then the reason for that is I like how it matches up with my GraphQL schema. So in my GraphQL schema, I want to have team ID, for example. I want to have a type called channel. We may or may not have team ID in here at the end, but I want to have camel case in GraphQL, and I actually don't think it uses, I don't think you can do snake case in GraphQL. I could be wrong, but I don't think you can. And you see all the time using snake case, or sorry, camel case. You don't see snake case in GraphQL, and I don't think you can. But camel case is what you see, and in JavaScript you use camel case too. So I wanted my Postgres database to match my GraphQL schema, and that's why you see me using camel case, even though it doesn't work as well with Postgres. But there's this cool little option here where we can say underscored true, and what this does is it's supposed to convert all our columns over to underscores, to using snake case, to automatically convert this guy right here into this for us. But as you can see, I went ahead and put underscored here, and I changed in my index file force true. That way the database would drop and remake, and you'll notice how we can disconnect, reconnect, select all from channels, for example. Nothing is underscored. I have no idea why not. I don't know if I have a setting wrong or what, but it doesn't work. So then I was like, okay, what you can do is you can come in here and as a setting, put underscored as true. So on my model, so on the actual channel database, or not database, but table. And now I can select all from channels. You notice it dropped, remade, and we have created at and updated at are now underscores. Perfect. But you'll notice now our team ID, it does not have underscores. It's not snake case. So that's a problem. There's actually two problems to this. The first is usually created at and updated at will come out back to us with underscores, which is usually a problem, but we'll worry about that later. But the other problem is team ID here does not have an underscore. What I really want is this here as well. So what you can do is you can specify, you can pass in an object instead of just a string, and set the name as team ID and the field as team underscore ID. Now I haven't actually tried this for sure. I mean, I know this does work, so we can come over here, select, it should have team ID now. So how this is supposed to work is my database has team underscore ID, but when I pull it from the database, Sequelize will automatically convert it to camel case for me. Now we'll see if this actually happens when we test this out later. Hopefully it does successfully convert it over, or else it'll be super annoying trying to convert these over so it fits our GraphQL. But the idea of using this field is to name our database column, and here is what we get back in JavaScript. So this should be the ideal solution. So I'm just going to go through each one real quick and set underscored. So underscored is going to be equal to true. And then our foreign key here, I'm going to set a name, and then I'm going to set a field. the same thing with this guy. Alright, and then our team as well. And now when we go back and select all these things in Postgres, we should see everything nicely named with snake case. So field, team ID, and do it right here. Oh, what am I doing? I don't need to with owner. Okay, I just went into oops. I went into autopilot mode. We don't need to change owner because it's already doesn't have 2 words to it. Okay, just user ID. This should be the last one. I did set underscored here. Good. And let's do it here. Underscored is true. Oops. And we're going to set the name and the field user ID. Alright, so let's select a couple tables and make sure everything looks good. So channels looks good. Users, that looks good. Teams, and then members. Yep, everything looks snake case. Was there any other tables I missed? Messages. That one looks good too. Alright, so now we have our tables nicely named in Postgres, and we get the camel case back in our JavaScript, and we can work with that. So I'm going to go ahead and close all this. So next, what I want to do for the remainder of the video is just create the types that we're going to be using for GraphQL. So I'm thinking we'll just do a one-to-one mapping of our types from over here, our models in here, and then in the next video we'll actually create the resolvers for these types and the mutations and queries. So the first one we'll create is, let's say, a user. So user has an ID, which is an int, and you can put a bang sign if you want it to be non-null, and I want the ID to be non-null. And I believe we have a username, email, and we don't want to be able to query the password, but we want to be able to query the email, which is a string, and the username. So all of these should be non-null. And if you want to, you'll notice how there's a created at and updated at. So if I go to users, there's these 2 fields. I don't really care about them right now. This might be something we need later and we can add to the type, but for now I'm not going to. I'm also going to add a few other things to this. So the user is a part of actually channels. I forgot about this. This is something I forgot, which I guess we can add on later. But channel, if it's private, there's a certain users that can access it. So we need to have like a member as well. But we'll worry about that later when we actually get to channels, because that's all way down the road. But here we have messages. Oops. This could be, and this is going to be the message type, which we haven't created yet. So let's put that up here. And I don't think we ever have to get all the messages a user has, so maybe we don't have to use this. But we should have a message which is going to have what? Text, and then maybe the channel and user. So it's going to definitely have an ID. It's going to have text, which is a string, and it's going to have a user, which is a user, and a channel. And both of these are non-null. And let's do the type channel. We might want to add more to the user. These are just going to flesh out the basic attributes I think each one needs, and then as we build the UI, we might come back and add things. So the channels have messages, and of course it has the ID and the name. and then messages, which is an array of the type message. Message should not be null, and the whole array should not be null. We should be able to get the team as well. Right. I actually don't know if we'll need the team or not for the channel, because really we'll be referencing the channel through the teams. I'm gonna for now leave team off. We'll see if we're gonna need that later. I'm gonna say type team. So a team is gonna have an owner, which is a user. It's gonna have members, which is an array of users. It's gonna have channels too, which is an array of channels. And then I forgot we have a public, which is a boolean. Okay, so I think that's everything. I think that's all the types we need. We have user, which I don't think we need to get all the messages the users has or all the channels the user has. We probably need the teams, because you should be able to see all the teams you're part of as a user. So team, we'll probably need to create channel for the user eventually. We'll do that one later when we actually create the channel table. You know what? Let's create that right now actually. So channel here needs to have so users can be a part of many channels which are public. So I guess users can create many channels, but it's only a one-way association. So kind of how team have a lot of channels, channel has a lot of teams, or has a lot of users, I mean. So let's do channel.belongs to models.user. Actually, I think we actually stick this on the user, not the channel. Let's put this over here. So this is going to be a 1 to n relationship, or m if we want to. And we're going to say channel, and we can say foreign key actually the user can be part of a ton of different channels, not just one. So we actually need this to be a n to m relationship, now that I think of it. So let's copy this. Just like with teams where they can belong to a ton of them, they can belong to a ton of channels. So this is going to be a channel, we'll call it channel member. That's what we'll call it. And this is channel members only for private channels, because everyone is a channel member by default. And here we can actually just do this same thing, foreign key, user ID, and underscore user ID. So in our channel over here, and here we're going to do channel.belongs to user, so many users, and then here's going to be channel ID. So let's look real quick at the table we just created. So this is going to be channel member. So we're going to create basically a roster of members where this user can see this channel, and the channel IDs are only for private ones, because we don't need to keep a list of the users that can access public ones. So now in my schema over here, type user, so a channel can have users, So these are the users that can see it. So both of those are not null, so the array and the objects inside of the array. And then the user can see the oh, this is interesting. So the user can get the teams, which then can get the channels. So you don't need to be able to select the channels from here, but we should only select the channels. We have to be careful of this when we make the query. Make this later. So we have the user can select teams, and then from the teams they can select the channels. So when we select the channels here, we need to be very careful not to select, or to select the ones that they can't access. So we need to make a note of that. And then our channel, we can also get the users that are in it if we need to. So this looks pretty good. These are the types, and then I think that's good for this video. And the next one, what we'll do is we'll fill out our query, and we'll also create a mutation type and then put stuff in that. And that's where you'll see your CRUD operations, where we're going to create, read, update, and delete all these different types. And then I think we're going to be doing some interesting stuff. We have a lot of relations here, so we're going to be doing some interesting joins and stuff with Postgres, so it's going to be fun. So that is it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. The code is going to be in the link in the description below, and it's going to be up on GitHub. So thanks for watching.